When Danny Cashman announced he'd be wrapping up his hosting gig on The Night Show, taped in Bangor, he connected us with someone who's become a dear friend of his through the show, Marc Summers. Summers is a television host best known for his work on Nickelodeon's Double Dare and the Food Network's Unwrapped.
Admittedly, I was a huge Marc Summers fan growing up. I watched all of his shows as a kid, so I was very pleased to find out that he's actually a kind human being who really enjoys connecting with his fans through his one-man show off Broadway. It's called The Life and Slimes of Marc Summers. And at 72 years old, he is happy to still be working.
I can't retire. I tried, and I just wasn't good at it. I would go to lunch with friends, and I would take walks, and then I would want to blow my brains out. So I realized I needed to do something. And I've been working on this one-man show for 11 years. Got called last summer to do it in Pennsylvania and in Buffalo, New York. And this is why you should always say yes. We were in Buffalo, New York, and the Mrs. Doubtfire National Tour opened next to us. And the director, Steve Edlund, came in and saw our show, unbeknownst to me. And afterwards came backstage and said, have you ever thought about doing this in New York? And I said, yeah, every day, but I don't know anybody there. And he said, you do now. He made one phone call. 4 months later, I'm doing a show off Broadway.
You know, I knew that your career had kind of started with Double Dare, or that was like the big kickoff for you being on television.
Here's your Double Dare host, Marc Summers. Welcome to Double Dare. This is the
I know you worked in behind the scenes beforehand, but I didn't realize it was also a big kickoff for Nickelodeon.
Yeah, we put them on the map. Up to that point, they had bad puppet shows on, and their attempt of what a talk show should be for kids, and it never connected. And we were on at 5:30 Monday through Friday, and for whatever reason, kids are always told to stay neat and clean, and we were rewarding them by jumping into 5,000 pounds of baked beans. And there was something at the time called Playground Talk, where they would go to school the next day and say, I saw this great show where you get hit with a pie and you can win a trip to space camp or win a computer. And so there was an article in Broadcasting Magazine several years back that said the three most important people to get cable started was initially Larry King because of CNN. Next was Gallagher on Showtime because of his comedy specials. And then me, because I got kids to go to their parents and say, I want to watch this show. And parents would, buy cable and tune us in.
People remember you joke as the slime guy.
Yep.
Is that a curse, or is that kind of a blessing for you? How do you feel about that?
I'm glad anybody remembers me for anything. Who knew that thing was going to explode? And, I get all the credit for slime, but it was a show called You Can't Do That on Television that actually started slime. But we used it, so much on Double Dare and Super Sloppy Double Dare and Family Double Dare and all that stuff. And it's fun because the people who come to our show in New York are the kids who grew up watching me, and they all have memories and they want to talk about it. And after the show at the stage door, I hear stories about Double Dare birthday parties and building obstacle courses in their living room and dining room and having their parents get mad at them. And who knew when we were doing it that it would have the impact that it still has today?
Do you remember what the slime was made of?
Oh, 100%. It's not made of this today, but back when we were starting Double Dare, the insurance company wanted to make sure if it got into kids' mouths.
Okay, you get over here, grab the flag, pass it over there. Okay, you grab up here at number 6.
That it was edible. So it was vanilla pudding, applesauce, and green food coloring. That's it. And that's what we use on our show every night. Now Nickelodeon has this company that makes slime. And when I was exec producing the last version of Double Dare, we went to the facility and they would come to me and say, well, what viscosity would you like? Would you like it to be thin and drippy or heavy? It's so crazy. Back in the day, we were making, vanilla pudding and applesauce, and it worked beautifully.
You worked on the messiest show on television, and yet at the time you had OCD and you didn't quite know what OCD was.
When we did the auditions in Los Angeles, there was not even on the physical challenges. It was easy. I get to the studio in Philadelphia the first day, and I see a guy pouring chocolate on a slide, and then there was this mix master where they were making 100 pounds of fresh whipped cream. I said, "Excuse me, what is this?" And they said, it's the obstacle course. Well, I had never been told about that in the audition.
Assuming
And they
yes,
said, whoever
start
wins
over
has to
on
run
that
through 8
little
obstacles in
tricycle
60
and
seconds or
pedal that
less.
way, or use your
And
free pedal all
so
the way
I had
across.
been
Follow
waiting
the
forever to get
forward,
on
please. Very
television.
slippery
And I had
surface
to have a
when you get to
little
the end of the
talk
rope
with
rope.
myself in
Pull
the
out that
corner
flag,
saying,
pass it
okay,
over there to your partner,
you've
and
waited for this forever. You're not going to walk away. It was a great acting job because it was mind over matter. Because, yes, I did not like getting messy, but it was part of the show and part of my job. So I made it happen. I wasn't fully exposed to what OCD was. I was hosting a talk show on Lifetime called Biggers and Summers, and Dr. Eric Hollander came on to discuss OCD, and I said on live TV, I think I have this.
I saw that you had mentioned that that actually cost you a few jobs in the process.
Oh yeah, yeah, because people didn't understand it. I was the first person to sort of come out and discuss it. Yeah, I was assigned to do Hollywood Squares, and the OCD, stuff came out, and I got fired. Believe me, my life is fine. I continue to work. I had a couple of years there that weren't so busy, but at 72 to be doing what I'm doing, I couldn't be happier, and I have no plans of stopping this anytime in the near future.
No plans at all. And after a career of hosting magic shows and television shows, including Unwrapped, hear what Marc Summers thinks about leaving behind a legacy. We have one final question for him at the end of our show, so stick around for that. Loved that conversation.
Yeah, he's fun.